Welcome to Valduk, Hammer Time. Hope you're excited. As far as opening hand goes, yes, we're going to keep on this one. I like it. We've got two lands. We've got Everflowing Chalice, and we're playing against Baby Kess. And she's going to have a little baby graveyard where she's going to cast her little baby spell. So dumb. We'll get her bigger. There we go. We're playing against normal Kess. Now, if you're keeping score at home, you're going to have to scratch that out. I know you wrote Baby Kess, but we're playing against normal Kess now. Let's go and lead off with Mountain, and then anything else, we're going to go ahead and pass the turn to our opponent. So, and then, you know what? This is the first game that I'm recording, too, so I have no excuse of I've been recording for a long time as to why we're starting this video off goofy, but hey, I like it. We're playing Valduk, Keeper of the Flame. At the beginning of combat on your turn, for each aura and equipment attached to him, create a 3/1 red elemental creature token with trample and haste. Exile those tokens at the beginning of the next end step. And it's been a long time since I've played him, so hopefully we can get a good video today. I'm going to keep my fingers crossed. In fact, if you do that too, that'll certainly help out. Let's go Everflowing Chalice with the multi-kicker for 1. I'm going to click OK. There we go. It's going to be 1 colorless mana. And then, yeah, we're going to pass turn over to opponent. Playing against Kess, Descendant Mage. Flying, during each of your turns, you may cast an instant or sorcery spell from your graveyard. If a card cast this way, you would put into your graveyard, exile it instead. So hopefully we don't run into a wall of Grixis removal. That would not be too good for Valduk. We're going to try our best. And then we run into Sol Ring, which is actually really good. I guess at this point, if we go for a Ronin War Club, because that's going to be Sol Ring, Ronin War Club, and then we can have Masterwork of Ingenuity coming as battle. Yeah, I like that a lot. So let's go Sol Ring. And that's going to be 1/2. And then we go for Ronin War Club, 1, 2, 3. And then whenever a creature enters the battlefield, we get to attach it to it. So you'll be able to see not necessarily how explosive Valduk can be, but you know, there's sometimes to where we get down Masterwork of Ingenuity, have it near the battlefield as a copy of War Club, we cast Valduk next turn. And if I'm saying that wrong, Valduk, that's just how it's going to be for the video. So only one comment on, hey, you're saying that wrong. And then anything else will pass the turn. So to cover both commanders, give a quick shout out to our sponsors, MTGOTraders. If you want to get into Commander Online, MTGOTraders is a wonderful place to start. They have every sort of card that you may need. And also shout out to inkgaming.com. Use coupon code JOLT to get 10% off your order and to help the channel at the same time. They've got some pretty cool stuff over there, some play mats, some dice bags, and maybe t-shirts. I remember seeing something about that, but I don't know if it's out there yet. But if they do, if you see them, and if you don't see it, then say, hey, this would be really exciting to get into the future. So, and then also I started a Patreon. So if you'd like to contribute to the Patreon, I have a $3, $5, and $9 tier to get your name at the credits and help the channel out at the same time. You know, it's even just a $3 tier that goes a lot further than just YouTube ad revenue tends to go. So, and it's officially free time. We can have some fun. So opponent's going to go for Dark Ritual and Demir Signet. But yeah, no pressure to go for the Patreon, but if you'd like to, you know, just kind of helps negate some of the costs throughout the year that just pop up for the channel. Just random things like that. But anyway, now it's officially free time. We can have some fun. So opponent's going to go for Dark Ritual. Let's going to see if we're going to see Kess coming down. I would assume so. Yeah, that's a pretty nice little play for our opponent. We got off to a really nice start, Sol Ring, and they got off to a really good start with that Dark Ritual. I always try to remember that I need to start putting Dark Ritual in a lot of my decks because it just works out really well. Now, we are looking to go for Valduk and Profros. That's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5... Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we're actually 1 mana away, which is kind of a bummer. But we will take this. So we're going to get down Valduk. It's going to be 2 colorless off Sol Ring, 1 red mana. That does put us in a spot where we can actually end up going for Tormenting Voice, so that'll work out. Let's get the War Club onto Valduk. There we go. We don't even have to swing in with them. We just get those tokens for free. So let's pop them onto the battlefield. And let's go and push in. You can see where, you know, if we had 1 more mana, we could get down Profros. That would be 4 damage from both of those creatures entering the battlefield. And I think we have to... Yeah, we have to attach those creatures on there to it now. We can get them back over there onto Ronin War Club, but you're going to see it shift around just a little bit. Yeah, we have to put them on there, so that's just a little bit of a bummer. But probably not going to see our opponent block on the 7/3. They'll probably block on the 3/1, but at least we're going to get him for 7. And then we'll go for Tormenting Voice, discarding Wild Guess. I think Wild Guess, that's one of my... It's in here because it's one of my favorite... It's one of my favorite cards from when I first got into Magic. I just remember casting that card a lot and just looking at that art, sticking your hand in a thing like that. That does not sound too fun. I guess we just go Tormenting Voice. Either way, it doesn't really matter. Because we definitely want to hold on to... Yeah, let's just go Wild Guess. I haven't cast this in a long time. We'll discard Tormenting Voice, and then we'll go for Wild Guess. Could really go for either one, but I kind of like going for this. And then there we go, drawn to Chandra. I kind of like that. Anything else, we're going to pass the turn over our opponent. So we will exile these tokens, so unfortunately we're going to miss out on being able to get Ronin War Club back onto Valduk, but, you know, 5 mana is a pretty good chunk of mana. You can see where we can get some really nice damage in pretty quick. Now this deck, it's been a long time, so I doubt if you've seen the video, you probably remember what's going on. I can barely remember what's going on in the deck. The core concept of the deck is what you just saw. This is not necessarily Voltron. I wouldn't consider it Voltron. We do have Sword of Feast and Famine in here, Sword of Fire and Ice, so that if we do want to push him with Valduk, we can. But for the most part, we want to get as many cheap pieces of equipment onto Valduk as possible. So we have stuff like Paradise Mantle, Bone Saw, Adventuring Gear, Blade of the Blood Chief. We just have a lot of equipment that is very low costed and a low equipment cost or free equipment cost, or just basically like an enter the battlefield equipment cost. And that's a really easy way to just kind of amplify out damage with Porphyros. Let's say that we have Pandemonium in here. Oh no, there goes Valduk. Anyway, you get to see what the deck is capable of. If we're playing against Kess, this is this is an uphill battle. We do have some protection in here, but we have to find the protection first. So hopefully we can find that pretty soon. Now, if we end up going for Chandra, we can go forward just -3 right off the bat and go for Kess. So I think we might end up going for that, because that'll kind of put them in a spot where they need to recast it. And then if they recast Kess, I don't know if they're going to have enough for Dreadbore. So let's see if we can't get Chandra to stick. That's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4. And then let's go for the -3. Yeah, I like that. 4 damage to target creature. We're going to go for the -3 on Kess. That's going to send her back to the command zone, pop her back up to 6, and then we have 2 mana, which there's nothing else we can do. So we're going to go and pass the turn. Yeah, because it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If they end up making the land drop, they're going to have to completely tap out for that. That does put us in a position to where next turn we can go for the +1, get the double red mana, or exile the top card. But I really do think I like getting down Valduk, because as you can see, we had a copy of some of this equipment. We can get down Valduk, and it will cost a little bit extra mana, but that's going to be an additional, a few extra tokens that we can get on the battlefield. And then if they do end up getting down Kess, it kind of puts them in a spot where if they want to go for Dreadbore on Valduk, or end up going for Chandra. But it looks like they're going to go for Goblin Dark Dwellers, which will make that choice very easy as they get rid of Chandra. So basically just a 4/4 with menace on the battlefield, which is, it's beatable. We can survive. Ooh, and they run into Ancient Tomb. Okay, so we go Ancient Tomb. Valduk's going to be 5. This is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That still gives us 3 mana left over. So once again, we're just kind of in that weird spot to where if we wanted to get down Maul or Porphyros, we're just simply not going to have the mana. Now, what we can do, they've got 2 cards in the hand. If we want to do some, I think we want to go for some setting up. Yeah, let's do that. So we go Porphyros. That's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4. And that's going to be a little bit extra. If we can just set up a really nice turn with Valduk, get some really nice enter the battlefield damage, we'll be in a really good spot. And between Tenza's, Maul, and Hammer, so what we can do is if we just straight up just cast this, we're going to be able to equip this onto Valduk, and I think I like that. So let's get the Hammer down. It's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4. Had to do a quick read on it to be, like I mentioned, I played this deck in a little bit. But yeah, so basically once we get down Hammer, if we can just basically straight up cast Tenza, and then we go for Valduk next turn, then we're going to be able to equip it onto Valduk. It's not going to have haste, but it's going to give it at least a little bit of a power and toughness bonus. That let's say our opponent's got some sort of you know, red base damage spell and trying to get rid of Valduk, they can certainly go for that. Some of the other key cards we do have in here, Key to the City, that's good, and then Hero's Blade, that fits in perfectly with the deck like this. You know, you get it on Valduk, get those elementals going. But where this deck really shines is, like I mentioned, is Porphyros. You have all this cheap equipment. It's just a lot of fun, especially if you end up going for Pandemonium. What just happened? Let's pull the chat up. I saw something flash. Oh, okay. Our opponent discarded Canyon Slow. Okay, and actually, our opponent's going to scoop it up on this one. Okay, so we're gonna count that as a win. They're going to scoop it up. So basically, what they cycled Canyon Slow, and technically the game wasn't over, but you can see how Valduk is so powerful. So we got next turn. They didn't have an answer, so I'm going to go ahead and play the turn out for you. So we go 5 mana for Valduk. He enters the battlefield. We're going to have the Ronin War Club, the copy of Ronin War Club, and then once we cast Maul, that's going to go onto Valduk. Valduk. That's going to be 3 pieces of equipment. That's going to be 3 elementals. That's going to be 6 damage up top. That's going to put them down to 11. And then once those elementals enter the battlefield, 2 of these clubs are going to go on to the 7-1. And then they're going to swing in. That'll probably go for the Goblet Dark blocking. And that'll be another 3. That'll be 6 coming across in the other elementals, putting them down to about 5. And so basically, once we kind of keep those elementals going with Proferos, hopefully we would be able to close the game out. But since our opponent scooped it up, they didn't have an answer. And definitely going to post this video up because you got to see what Valduk is capable of. You know, maybe in a multiplayer setting you may not want to run it, but at least in 1 versus 1, it is a very fun commander to play. So, if you enjoyed the video, like and subscribe. Thanks. Bye. Welcome to Valduk. Hammer time. Hope you're excited to get some elementals on the battlefield. And as far as our opening hand goes, yes, we're going to keep it. We've got some protection for Valduk. He's definitely a diva. He likes to have some really pretty boots. We've got Everflowing Chalice, a little bit of ramp. We got Bloodforged Battle Axe, which I'm really excited to get down. I haven't had an opportunity to get this going. And then also Hero's Blade, which works out perfectly. So I'd like to see a little bit of card advantage or maybe some a little bit of quicker mana ramp, but I will definitely take this. And we're playing against Yidris, the man who rides on a horse with no name. So we should have some really nice battleship magic for you coming up today. So we're playing Valduk, Keeper of the Flame. At the beginning of combat on your turn, for each ore or equipment attached to Valduk, create a 3/1 red elemental creature token with trample and haste. Exile those tokens at the beginning of the next instep. Let's lead off with... Yeah, I kind of like going, because we go Everflowing Chalice, Bloodforge. Yeah, let's do that. So let's go Mountain. We're going to go Bloodforge Battle Axe. And then next turn we can go probably Everflowing Chalice. Might end up going, well, if we end up going Hero's Blade, that'd be pretty good, because, yeah, that's going to curve out really well. But we have to hit a land to be able to hit that. So let's see if we run into Proferos. Okay, that's definitely a good thing to have. Yeah, and I guess at this point... we've probably got some time to set up. Actually, I don't mind risking that. So let's go Buried Ruin, let's go Hero's Blade, because we've ripped the land off the top, then we're going to cast Valduk. That'll immediately pop on there, and we'll get an elemental swinging in. If we don't, we can simply just go for Hall of the Bandit Lord, give it haste, and then start attaching some of this equipment to it. So I kind of like that. We're playing against Yidris, the man who rides on a horse with no name, Trample. Whenever Yidris deals combat damage to a player, as you cast spells from your hand this turn, they gain Cascade. So let's say that you give Yidris Trample, not necessarily Trample. If you give it Double Strike, this could be double the Cascades. So if you're going to build a really fun deck, Yidris is definitely where it's at. Now, I don't know how well Yidris would work out in a multiplayer setting. It's kind of a one-trick pony, but... fun, definitely a fun commander to play. So yeah, we did not hit the land drop, but we do run into 1 Power Stone. But yeah, let's keep on with that Everflowing Chalice. So let's go Everflowing Chalice with 1 multi-kicker. There we go. Everflowing Chalice for 1. Hall of the Bandit Lord is going to enter the battlefield tapped. And then we'll pass turn to our opponent. Yeah, that's it. So we need to cover both commanders. It is officially free time. We can have some fun. And we are playing against a friend of the channel. So shout out to our opponent. Hopefully this is a fun match for both of us. And we both get to do some busted stuff. But yeah, it's been a long time since I've played Valduk. I think... I remember when I initially tried to record him... I just had like a really frustrating time trying to record him, and he was supposed to be my Friday release, and all I had was like 8 or 9-minute videos that just weren't that good, and I just needed a release for that day, and so I just spliced them all together and just released it. So I'm excited to get some good gains in him so far. Now we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, and we do have haste coming off Hall of the Bandit Lord. That's going to give 1 mana to equip. Do we want to hold up some sort of swift... Yeah, let's go and get the damage going. Because if we get down Valduk, that's going to make it a 6/4, and we can make that trade. Yeah, I think we're okay with that. Yeah, let's go for Valduk. That's going to be 1, 2, and then we actually, since we're not going to be really swinging in with haste, we can actually not take any damage off of that Hall of the Bandit Lord. So let's go Hero's Blade. Yes, definitely going to use that ability. It's going to make it a 6/4, and it's going to put a 3/1 elemental on the battlefield. So like I mentioned, where the money at with this deck is just free equip. That's just a fun way to take this deck. Let's go and push in for a 3/1 because we're going to lose it either way. Might see Yidris block. Maybe we get in for 3. Who knows? Maybe our opponent's scared of some sort of colorless -1 style effect. If it was me, I probably wouldn't block it. And then, yeah, no, think about it. Let's go Blade of the Blood Chief. Yeah, we'll go and pay that 3 life because we want to get down Blade of the Blood Chief. That'll be good. And the next turn we can go for Swiftfoot Boots and start equipping some of this other stuff on there. See if we can't work in Worn Power Stone, because if we can get down Worn Power Stone, then we can start working towards Proforos, and that'll really allow us to kind of start building up a nice board state. But at this point right now, our opponent will be able to swing in with Yidris if we want to make this trade. That's going to be a 5/4. That's going to be one piece of damage swinging over to us, so that will enable the cascade. Thankfully, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We're sitting at 6 mana. But man, to be perfectly honest, if we make this trade, they're gonna have to. Yeah, let's go for the trade because if they have to recast Yidris, that's one of the hard things about this deck is if you're playing Yidris. If something happens to them and you don't really have a lot of card advantage or you don't have a lot of stuff to do, it's really hard to get a really nice explosive turn. Then you have to recast Yidris for 6 mana. So hopefully we can just kind of chew up a turn. But let's see what's in store for us. Okay, and our opponent's going to go for Blood Mist, which this is one of my favorite cards. I love it. Well, it is a fun card to play with, but as far as the art goes, it's like I can always imagine that trigger. Like if you imagine this trigger was on Arena, you can just see the Blood Mist just like coming onto the field. Like I always like to envision it that way. And there we go. We had a Blood Mist into a Wizard Silk Cloak, so Yidris isn't all that scary sometimes. Since they took a turn off from, they're probably going to go for Yidris. That's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, I think we can do some setting up this turn. So Worn Power Stone is going to enter the battlefield tapped. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, we don't have enough to actually cast Valduk right now. So let's get that pop back up. Let's go Worn Power Stone. And then that's going to leave just 1 mana, so we'll simply just go and pass the turn to our opponent. So as far as next turn goes, we will have Valduk with haste. If we're going to end up going for that, I'd really like to get down Proforos first because we're getting to the point where we've got a ton of equipment. And once we get that 5 mana down for Valduk, I'd like to equip as much of it as possible and get as much carryover damage as possible. Now, if we can find Pandemonium, this is when it'll really kind of have some fun. We go for Pandemonium. I think it's in here. Or did I cut it? Oh, no, I must have cut it. That was such a fun card. Yeah, I guess I know what it was. I used to have Valduk in here, and I had Pandemonium, and then Valduk would always get hit with our opponent's creatures entering the battlefield. So that does make sense. Let's go. Let's get down Mountain. As much as I love that card, that's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we go Proforos, and then we end up going for Swiftfoot Boots. That's going to have the haste option. Yeah, I think I like doing that. So let's go Proforos. That's going to be 1, 2, 3. And then we tap down Mountain. And then we're just going to have to take a hit off Yidris and hope that this isn't that bad. It's going to be double strike. I think we can survive. But if we're going to close the game out, we need to get as much stuff onto Valduk as possible. And that's going to be a lot of enter the battlefield triggers and a lot of effects like that. So we're going to go Swiftfoot Boots. And then we're going to go and pass the turn. So let's say we do end up spending 5 minutes next turn for Valduk and give it haste. That's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That still gives us 2 mana left over. We're going to get a free equip with Hero's Blade. We can equip Battleforge Axe or Bloodforge Axe for 2 mana. That'll be an additional equipment. Or if we end up going for Blade of the Blood Chief, that's only 1, especially if we end up hitting the land. So, all right, so opponent's going to end up getting double Yidris Cascades. Yeah, I mean, just the thought of getting down Valduk again and just making another trade with Yidris, it's still going to get that trample damage, either way, because that 1 damage is going to power through, and then they're just going to end up with double cascade once that second damage goes through. So, all right, so opponent's going to go for Abundance. That's not too bad. And then going into a Cascade, which Cascade into Swiftfoot Boots, I'll certainly take that. And the cool thing with Abundance is it actually works out really, really good in a deck like this, is if you draw a card, you can choose land or non-land card, and then you can reveal until you hit those cards. So that's another way that if you set up a Yidris deck, you can really kind of, let's say you have a draw spell, you can really kind of filter out some of your draws. All right, so we do run into land, we run into Mountain. Let's go Mountain, and I think we want to swing in with Valduk. Yeah, I think we do. So that's going to be 1 colorless, and yeah, okay, so we can take, that's going to put us down to 10. All right, so we can still survive next turn. We tap down 1 red mountain. That's going to be 1, 2, 3. Okay, so Valduk's going to enter the battlefield. That's going to be 2 damage up top to our opponent. We're going to get the, yes, definitely want to use that ability. Get the Hero's Blade on there. It's going to make it a 6/4. It's going to be 2 damage, put him down to 25. And then we're looking at basically Blood Forged. Yeah, I think Blood Forged Axe is going to be the best option. That's going to be 1, 2, and then we end up going for Swiftfoot Boots. Because the Blade of the Blood Chief, yeah, it doesn't put anything on there. So we're going to go for Swiftfoot Boots. It's going to make it an 8-4. We're going to go to our combat step. End up with 3 of these tokens on the battlefield. It's going to be 6 damage up top. Always yield to that. And let's go and push in. That's going to be 8. How much damage? That's going to be... I don't think that's enough. Let's see how low it gets them. It's going to put them down to 2. Okay, so we'll get Bloodforged, get the Bloodforged copy on the battlefield, and then anything else, we'll go and pass the turn to our opponent. So we got our opponent down to 2. We are sitting at 13. They do have double strike with Blood Mist, so let's hopefully see if we can survive this turn. If they simply just untap, and we leave Yidris on the battlefield, we will have those enter the battlefield triggers. If we can somehow find another creature to get down, we'll get another enter the battlefield creature. So we'll see if we can't close this one out. So you can see where this, playing Valduk is pretty fun. You can get some really explosive turns, and especially getting that really nice amplifying effect with Profros. But yeah, with Pandemonium, I think that's what it was. I used to have Pandemonium in here, and if you have Pandemonium and you can time it well, it works out really good. But it also puts a huge target on Valduk, especially if you don't have any... oh, no. Maelstrom Wanderer. Creatures you control have haste. Yeah, that's going to be it right there. Yeah, would it be pretty risky on that one? Maybe I left some damage on the table. Maybe going for that -3 Hall of the Bandit Lord, losing 3 life from Blade of the Blood Chief. But either way, I think I still would have played this one out the same way. So good game to our opponent. They're going to get the double cascade. This is the points where they're going to miss out on the, you close it out with Yidris combat damage. You don't get to cast a bunch of spells, which is always a bummer. So good game to our opponent. They're going to get it on this one. And, both of us had some fun. We got some double cascades with Yidris, which is always what you want to do. And we got some enter the battlefield effects with Valduk, which is always a fun thing to do for us too. So all around, we both won. So anyways, shout out to our opponent, friend of the channel. And if you enjoyed the video, like and subscribe. Thanks. Bye.